So from here we can start animating the cup, but before we do that, let's position this cup properly. We can come to our cup here and transform this, and then screen width, I think we have it. Okay, screen width divided by 2 minus cup width divided by 2. But then we need to get rid of this value here. We can get rid of this top value here also as well. Now what we can do here is let's just close this style, and then close this face, close this mouth. So now we can come here, and then let's declare our tabs here. The cup here would take an animated value here, which we will then pass to our view here. So now here the key for this guy here would be string, and then the value here would be any. And then we can just call our animate here, and then change this view here to an animated view. Import animated from React Native animated, and then the styles here would be animate, save, and then you can come here and assign animate to animate cup. We can come down here also and declare our animate cup const equal animate cup, use animated style, it takes a callback style, and then returns a style. Let's just leave it like this for now. So now the first thing here we need to do, we want this cup to be way up there, so when the animation starts it will just drop down here at first and then go up. In order to do that, let's just create another variable here. We'll call it translate y, maybe just better, let's call it cup translate y. It would take a shared value, and then we will translate it to screen height. Yeah, so now here the other thing we need to do is to create a use effect because we want the animation to start exactly when this component mounts. So now we can do something like cup translate y dot value here. We will assign it with timing function here, which then returns a value here. It takes a number as its first argument. So basically what we are saying here is when this component mounts, we want this value here to be 200. So basically it will move all the way from screen height to 200 here. So now we can come inside our use animated style and then declare a transform here. Actually we don't even need a transform, because the reason being, if we use a transform and we translate this guy from the y-axis, we do like translate y, if this guy moves all the way from the top here to 200, that won't be the exact same size on all devices. So I don't find this thing to be very practical in this case. Instead, what we can do is to make use of this bottom here. So basically the bottom value would be our cup translate y dot value. If we save this guy here and check what we have, you see this cup is moving all the way from the top and coming down here. But then what we will notice here is that this animation here will happen only once. But then what we want to do here is we want to be able to repeat this animation again and again. So to do that, we can make use of with repeat. From Reanimated, it takes an animation as its first argument, and then the number of times we want to repeat the animation for, you set it to -1 to make it infinite, and then it's asking us where we want to reverse the animation. We'll set it to false because we don't want to reverse the animation. So now you can hit save, and then the animation should be repeating. If it's not, let's try to reload and see what happens. Now as we can see, our animation is repeating again and again and again. So now we need to set a duration for our animation here. To do that, we can set a duration here to be 1500, and then the easing here, we want it to start somehow slow. As it falls down, it falls down, it falls. So now to do that, we can make use of easing, and then we will import easing from Reanimated, and then it would be easing.poly 4. I found these values to be the exact right values for me. So now it starts just a bit slow, and then it falls down here, it falls here. So now the other thing we need to do here is the moment this guy reaches 200 here, we want it to bounce up again here. To do that, we need to make use of another function here, which is called with sequence. What with sequence will allow us to do is that it will execute these animations one after another. So basically, after this animation is done, if we add here another animation, with sequence will execute that animation for us here again. So now to do that, we can make use of another with timing again, and then the first value for this with timing here would be 400. And let's see if this guy here, and the duration for this guy here, we will set it to 200, and then the easing, we will make use of the same easing.poly and set it to 4. So now we save. I think this 200 here is a bit is too much. We can set this guy here to 100. Our animation is a bit distorted for now, so what we can do is let's try to reload. Now from here, what we will do is as the cup moves up, we will pause it up just a bit, then drop it down, and then pause it down also a bit. So to pause this cup a bit, we will just copy this whole animation from here again and just paste it here, and then we'll pause it up for just 400 milliseconds, and let's save and see what we get. So as it drops down, it poses up. So now the other thing we will do is as it gets paused, we need to drop it down also again. So to do that, we'll copy this animation again, paste it, and then drop it down to 300. When it drops down to 300, we'll pause it down to 300 again. So we paste here 300, and the duration for this guy here will make it 200. Let's save and see what we get. I think we need to restart our animation, so let me try to reload. So this is what we get, but as we can see from here, this does not seem very right. So basically the distance between when the cup gets posed and when it drops down is very small. So to fix this, we can just try to increase this 400 to 500, save it and see how it plays. Let's reload. So from here, what we will do is we will give the cup a little bit of bouncing effect. So as the cup just lands down here, instead of just staying at the bottom, we will make it bounce just a little bit. To do that, we will just copy this frame again, paste it again twice. So we change this one to, let's say, 360. Fine, but I think we don't need this 300 here. I mean, it should come down here instead of over there. So we can save and have a look at how animation is working. So I will just reload and see how it plays. Yep, it's going up and down, but the duration here is too much. What I will do is instead of 400, I will make it let's say 150. Reload and see how this one works. Yeah, so this 400 also, I will change this one also to 150. Save, reload. something like that. So that is basically the effect that I wanted to achieve. So from here what we will do is to create a bottom sheet where the scope will land at. So to do that we can come down here and then create another view here. We will give it a style. Styles would be bottom sheet, we will call it. So we can come down here, declare our style, sky bottom sheet, the width of which would be screen width, the background color would be bottom sheet color, the height of this guy here would be 200, and then the position will make it absolute. You can save our bottom sheet here, come here and then save our bottom sheet. So now we have our bottom sheet over there. But then what we want to do is to place the bottom sheet, to hide it down here. So as the animation plays, when the scope hits the bottom sheet will just give it this springing effect, and then it will follow the position of this cup as if the cup is landing on top of this bottom sheet. So what we will do here is let's create here another style here, call this animate bottom sheet, use animated style. Inside the callback here we define our style, and then we give it the bottom here would be bottom sheet translate y dot value. So now we will take the shared value here, we'll const call shared value, and then by default it will be minus 200. So now what we want to do here is when the animation starts here, this bottom sheet here should just move up here. But then to achieve that, what we will do is we will add here another width timing here, paste it, but at this time here the value for our width timing would be 0, the duration here would be 0. Now the value here should be the screen height. The value here would be screen height. So at first here the cup here would be way up there, but then the duration here it will take for this cup to move all the way to screen height would be 0. So we can remove this easing here. But then what we will do here is to give it a third argument here, which will be a callback. And what this callback does is when Reanimated executes this animation, immediately it will start to execute our callback. So what we are going to do inside this callback here is we will set the value of our bottom sheet here to be 0, but before that we'll add with delay, not decay, with delay, and we will delay it for 1200 milliseconds, and then it will take with timing animation, and then with timing we'll set the value to 0. So now let's save this guy here and then see what we get. We won't really have anything because we are not making use of this animation here. To do that, we'll convert this view to an animated view, import animated from React Native Reanimated, set the styles here, we pass our animation, we hit save and then refresh and then see what we get. Yep, so that's how we want our animation to behave. But then what we are going to do here is as this cup hits this bottom sheet here, when it moves here to 500, we will make this bottom sheet here follow this animation. But before that, we will give this bottom sheet a springy animation, as if the cup is hitting this bottom animation, and then it will move up back here to the exact location of where the cup is. So to do that, we will come back to this last animation here, and we will add here a callback. Inside the callback here, we can set our bottom sheet, the value here of our bottom sheet here, we will set it back to minus 200, this time with no delay. So we can come down here to exactly when this cup here is being paused here. So before the cup drops down to 300 here, we will add here another callback, and inside this callback here, we will set our value of our bottom sheet here to be, actually should not be, we should not start with this guy here, but we should start with this animation here. So we'll pass here a callback here, and the reason why we are starting with this callback is because the cup is dropping all the way to 200 here. So here is 200, so when it reaches at 200 here, we want to move our bottom sheet a bit here instead of 500. We will get back to this animation, but we will start with this one here. So we can just copy this value here, set the value for the bottom sheet, in this case here would be with timing. So the value here will be, let's set it to minus 100. Instead of with timing, exactly, I will use with spring to give it this springing animation here, this springing effect. So here, as the cup reaches at 200, it will spring back the bottom sheet to somewhere around here. So after that happens, the cup will move back here to 500. So as it pauses here at this 500 here, after it's done pausing, before it move the cup down to 300 here, then we will set the position of our cup here to move all the way to 300 here. So we'll change this 200 here to 300. So what we will do is save our animation and reload. Actually here, this value here should not be 300. I made a mistake. It should be with timing. We save, reload, and see what we get. 150 seems to be too much. We will set it back to 100. Reload. Yep, 100 seems to be doing the job. But then what you can notice here is the cup is leaving this bottom part here. So meaning we need to adjust the height of our cup here as this animation moves. So what we can do here is we can create another shared value, and then we can set the height of our shared value here, of our bottom sheet here. So to do that, we can just do something like bottom sheet height, which would be shared value, and then at first the value would be, the height would be 200. But then as we set the animation here to move up here, we will adjust the height to be high. Bottom sheet height dot value would be with timing, and then we will set the height to be 300. So now we need to make use of our height here. So you can set the height of our bottom sheet to be height dot value. We save, reload. Yep, so the height is moving fine. So I guess at this point here, we don't really need to move to translate this animation. So we'll just uncomment it for now and see how the animation works. So as it can be noted from here, we can see that the bottom sheet is not working quite well. That's because we need to readjust our values here. So we will change this translate by here to be 0, and then as this animation here ends, we will set our bottom sheet to be 200. basically we are just resetting our values back to the default ones. So we save and then reload the app again and see how it works. Yep, the animation is working as expected. So before moving further, what I would like to do here is just to make things a bit easier, I would like to label these values here so that we can know what these values are doing exactly. So here will be to move the cup up, move up or off screen, and then here we are moving the cup down, move down, or we can just say cup, move cup down. And then what we are doing here is moving cup up. Here we are posing the cup, pose cup up, and then here we are moving the cup down, and then we are moving the cup up here, moving the cup down, and then posing the cup. Posing the cup. Guess this guy can be pose cup up, pose cup down, and then this guy here would be set bottom sheet value. So now you can see, just to make things a little bit clearer for us so that we can know exactly what we are doing, set value. So next what I would like us to do is create this rotation effect as the cup moves up here. So the first thing we would like to do is as the cup moves here, we will like to give the cup some sort of tilting effect. So as it moves from top to bottom, the cup will go all the way to the left and then come back right, and then later we'll add the rotation effect. But the first one we will start with is to give it this tilting effect here, so it will move to the left and then come back to the right. To do that, what we can do here is we can create another value here which we will call translate cup translate. The translate x here would be 0. So now what we are going to do here, as the cup moves up, we will add another callback. So inside this callback we will do, so what we can do here is we can go cup translate x dot value. It will be like a sequence of values, so the cup will move to the left, then to the right, and then it will come back to 0 as it drops down. So what we will do here is we will add another width sequence, and then the sequence will take a list of animations to execute. So we will make use of the width timing. So with timing we translate it to x, it should be -20 for now, and then if it moves -20 on the left and then it moves 20 to the right, and then we bring it back to 0, it should be like this. We move it back to 20, we make use of another bit timing, and we set this value back to 0. So now we need to consume our translate x. So to do that, we can come here to our cup and do something like transform. Inside this transform is where we'll translate our cup. So we give it the value of cup translate x dot value. We save our animations, fingers crossed. I mean, as you can see, it's somehow working, but it's not really working like the way we want it to work. So as you can see, the cup is not animating quite well. That's because when we added this value, we translated the cup all the way to the left here instead of maintaining the cup at the exact middle of the screen. it moved the cup all the way to the left. So to fix this, what we can do is we can add a constant which we will call cup translate x, be screen width divided by 2 minus cup width divided by 2. So now what we will do is we will make use of this cup width. So we'll go like cup width minus 20, and then this guy here would be cup width plus 20, and then this guy here would be cup width. So now we can save the animation and see what we get. So just to be sure about what's really happening, we can try to reload our animation. It's still not behaving well. That's because the default value for our translate x should be the cup translate x. So we reload again. So everything is working quite well for now, but I think what we can do is to increase this 20 to somewhere around 30 and see how that one works. That's working quite well for now, but as we can see from the animation, it hits at the bottom then translate back to 0. So what we can do is to adjust our duration in which the cup translates. So you can set the duration here to be 200, and we set the duration for this guy to be 200. We save, and then we see how it plays. That's quite better, but I would like to reduce the duration somewhere around 190 and see how it plays again. This one works fine for now. So from here, what we are going to do is to tilt the cup as it moves up. So what we are going to do is we'll come here, and then we will create another variable, and this one we will call cup tilt, and then we will use a shared value and set it to 0. So what we will do here is we'll come, so before, as the cup starts to move up, we will come here, and then we will do something like cup tilt dot value equals with timing, set the value to 20 at first. In fact, what we will do here is we will set it inside with sequence. So at first we will set it to 20, then we set it to minus 20. I think the first one should be minus 20. Then we set this guy to 20. Then we set it to with timing. And then the third one we set it to 0. The duration for these guys would be, let's leave it at 200 milliseconds for now, just to see how it works. So what we can do here is to save the animation, and let's try to use this value here. We will pass it to the rotate cup tilt dot value degree. This guy should be moved outside that. So we save, we reload. The animation is working quite nice, but what I would like to do here is to increase the duration just a bit. So instead of 200, I will make it 300. We reload again and see how it works. So I like the animation. So the next thing we are going to do from here would be as this cup here moves up, we will try to rotate the face. So to rotate the face, what we will do is we will go inside this cup here, and then this will be our face here. So we can go inside the face and see what we can do from here. So this is the face container and this is the actual face. So to do that, we will have to pass an animation here. We will call this animate face, or we will just call it animate. Would be a type of record string and any. So we pass here animate. We change this view here into an animated view. Port animated. So we pass our animate here. Pass animate. We save the face and then we come down to our face here. This guy here will take another animation and then we will call this guy animate face, and then this guy takes animate face, and then we pass here animate face. We save. We need to pass the animate face again, so we name this animate cop to face translate x, because what we will be doing here is to translate the face and then that will give it this animation effect. So this would be animate face. I will give this guy a comment, call it tilt cop. So next we need to come here where the cop is posing, where we are posing the cop, and that's where we will, in fact it's down here, and that's where we will need to rotate the face. So we come down here and then we go face translate x dot value will be minus cop with we wrap this guy inside with timing, wrap this guy with sequence, then we translate it back to 0, and then we translate it back to cop width. So basically here, as this cop poses here, the face will go minus cop width, then it will move to the left immediately, and then it will translate back here to the cop width. That's what we want to achieve. So to see if this thing is working fine, what we can do here is we need to save this value. Realize that we passed the wrong value. Instead, what we should pass here is declare here another variable. We call this animate face, use animated style, and in here is where we will declare our styles. So we can do something like transform and then translate x, which value would be face translate dot value, and then we will pass this animate face to animate face. So we can save. Okay, we got another error, and that's because here we are passing the 0 directly. We should not pass the 0 directly, but we should wrap the 0 inside our with timing, and then the duration for this guy we will set it to 0. So now we can save and reload again. Okay, so as we can see, the face is rotating. It's working somehow, but honestly it's not working the way we want it to work. So basically when this animation here ends, what we need to do is set this value here to 0. Basically we are resetting this value, so we will set it back to 0 and reload again, so we can reset the face. So as we can see, the face is moving from left to right, but that's only happening after the curve hits this bottom part here. But what we want to do is as this guy is hanging up, that's the moment we want to trigger this animation. So basically, meaning this guy here needs to go inside here. So we move it, it will set this value as well. So we can refresh again. So still now the face is not working quite well. I guess we need to switch these values, and then this guy here should be animated back to 0. This last one here would be 0, I believe. And then the duration, we will set it to 0. We can save again and have a look at how it works. Maybe I can even change the value, set this duration for this guy to be 200, and the duration for this guy also I will set it to be 200, and save, reload again. Yep, the animation is working quite nice, as you can see. What you will notice that as the face translates on the x-axis, it's still visible to us. So what we need to do here, as it goes past the width of this copy, we need to hide the face. So to do that, we can come to our styles, we can come to the face container, and then we make some adjustment here. We will say overflow would be hidden. We save, reload. So as you can see from here, it's giving us this nice rotation effect. I think that is it for the face. So the other thing we will need to animate is or rotate here rather, would be the handle. So to rotate the handle, we need to follow like a similar approach. We can come inside the copy, and this is our handle. So we need to change this handle also into an animated handle. It will also take another style which we will call animate handle. We can copy this guy, and then we destruct animate handle. So we can come down here again. This guy here is expecting an animate handle, so we can come down again, declare another variable which we'll call animate handle, and we use animated style, and in here we declare our styles. So before, and in here we declare our styles. So we can come here and then create another shared value which we will call handle translate x. So similar to the face here, we will come here and then we will do something like rotate handle, and down here we can set the value for our handle translate x dot value here, which will be with sequence. In fact, I will just copy this value and then paste it. So what we will do here is to translate the curve to minus the width of the curve, and then translate it back to the width of the curve. So now that we have this, I will set this guy here to 200, save this value, come back to our copy and save, and see how this guy works. I just realized that we have not set the styles for our handle. So to do that, we can just transform translate x, and then can do handle translate x dot value, save, and then reload. Yep, that's working quite well as expected. What we will need to do is to reset the value of our handle as well. So we will set it to 0 as the animation ends. So the next thing, just to reload this guy here again. So the value is being reset, but still now the handle is not working quite well. I guess that's because we need to set this value here needs to be 0 instead of the cup width. So that's it, that's working quite well. So the next thing we need to do here is, as the cup translates here to the, as the cup translates on the x-axis, we will need to rotate the cup as well. So we need to create another shared value which we will call handle rotate. So we can come down to where we are translating the handle, and then the value for the handle rotate would be with sequence again, and then at first we will rotate it to 180 degrees. We can make use of the width timing and then set the value to 180. The duration for this guy here, we will set it to 200. So as the cup goes back to this position here, we will set it to 0. Let's hope that works. With timing, and we set this guy back to 0. And the duration here, we will set it to 200 as well. I should go out like that. What we can do here is to declare the style for our rotation. So to do that, we can do rotate handle rotate dot value. This guy here will be degrees. So we can save this guy. We reload. So that's working quite well, but we need to adjust the value for our translate x on this handle. So to do that, we can add to the width of this copy. We should add the width of the handle as well. So to do that, we can come to our rotate handle translate. So we need to add the width of the cup handle here as well. So we can do something like this: cup handle width, and save. That's working quite well for now. But then you will see as the handle is rotating, when it's coming back here, it's still visible in the front of this copy. So what we need to do, as the cup reaches at the end of this the width of the cup, what we need to do is to send this cup back, change the z index of the handle, and then in that way we will be able to hide the handle of the cup, so it will be as if the handle is rotating behind the cup. So to do that, we can create another shared value. You can come here, const handle z index, use a shared value, set it to 0, change this guy to this guy. So we can come here, we are rotating the handle, so we will need to pass here another callback. So basically, when the cup rotates to 180 as it's coming back, so we will need to set the z index of the cup handle, let's say to -20. So now we need to make use of our z index, so we can come down and then we give this guy z index of handle z index dot value, save. It's still not going behind the cup, so what we can do here is we can come inside the cup and then move the handle outside of this view, save it, and then everything should work fine as expected. So the next thing we are going to do here is to add the coffee on the cup. So to do that, we will just create another component which we will call coffee.tsx, create a function, and then we call this guy coffee. So this coffee here needs to be an SVG, so we'll create an SVG for this guy. We'll come and then later we have to animate the SVG, so you can create an animated prop, and then use animated prop from React Native Animated, native props, on D, which will be the path. You will set the cursor at 0 on the X and then 10 on the Y, and then we start our bezier. We start creating our bezier point. The first point of the bezier would be at 0 on the X, 0 on the Y, and then the second point of the bezier point, we will set it to 50 on the X and then set it to 0 on the Y. I need to get rid of this guy. And then the second point of the bezier, we will place at 50 on the X and then 10 on the Y axis. So now we need to return here an animated path, which will create shortly. Animated path. So we need to create our animated path. And create const animated path, and then we'll create an animated path using React Native reanimated.create animated component, and then it takes a path. So now our animated path here also takes an animated prop, and we will pass it this animated prop. You can get rid of this guy and then you can save. Now that we have our coffee, so we can also set the width of our cup to be 100, and then we can set the height also to be 100. And the fill for the coffee, we will set it to chocolate color. So now we can save, and let's try to import our coffee inside our cup. Coffee from coffee, and then save. We don't have anything, so what we can do here is let's try to reload. Actually we do have something, but it's placed up there. As you can see, it's hidden at the top there, so we need to bring it down somehow. So for now what we can do is to adjust the cup, because what I will need is to give some height to this cup. So we can change these two values to be 20, and this is fine for now. So we can come to our cup, and then this coffee here should be placed inside our coffee container. So we need to move this guy in here a little bit. So we wrap it inside a view, and we will name this view to be styles.coffee. Can come to our styles and then give some styling to our coffee, and then we will call this guy coffee. So we can come down here, this guy should be coffee, and then the style here, the position of our coffee, we will set it to be absolute. At the top it should be, let's give it 10 for now, and then on the left we will set it to be 0. So we can save our styles, come to our coffee here, and then save this guy as well, and see what we get. We are not seeing anything, so we can reload and see what we get. Nothing still, so we can come inside our coffee, and let's try to change the top value to be something like -15. Yeah, that's working fine. So what we can do from here is actually we will need two of these coffee. One will be placed on the left and then the other will be placed on the right. So with this one, what we will do is I think we should start renaming these guys. We should name this guy to coffee left, and then the other one would be coffee right. You can rename this guy to be coffee right, and then we'll place it at the right. At the right we'll place it 3 from the right, and then here 3 from the left. So we can come to our style here and change this guy to coffee left, and then change this guy to coffee right. So I think what we can do here also is to rotate this guy here. So we can rotate it on the Y axis 180 degrees, 180, and save. and save this guy also as well. Yep, you have something like that. So what we need to do is we can start animating the coffee. So what we will do here is both of these coffee here would be hidden as the cup moves up and then it tilts on the left. The coffee on the left would start to show as it goes down, or as it tilts on the right, then the coffee on the right would show and the one on the left would be hidden. So to do that, what we can do is we can come back here. We will create another animation here which we will call animate coffee left. We will start with the one on the left, and then we will use a use animated style, and then the value, the styling here is what we will declare here in a bit. So we will start by declaring the position of the coffee. So what we can do here is we can do const coffee right translate y. It will use a shared value, and at first we will set it to 10. It won't hurt, I believe. So we can take this value, and then the animation for this guy would be transform translate y, which would be equal to this guy here dot value. So we can pass this animate coffee to our cup, which would be animate coffee left. It will take animate coffee left, and then we can have the animate coffee left, and then this guy would be animate coffee left, and animate coffee left we will pass it to this view, and we need to change this view with an animated view as well, and then save. So you can come here and start. Actually, what I would like to do is we can comment out this guy just so that we can have a better view of what's happening. So we can come down here. At first the value of this guy here would be 10, so it should be hidden inside the cup. We can call this guy show coffee left, and then down here we can do something like animated.coffee value left. No, coffee right translate y, is it? Actually this should be coffee left, not coffee right. Should be down here. We can set the value for this guy to 15, -15. So we can go like with timing, and then the value here would be -15, and then the duration we will like to set it to 200. When the coffee is coming down, we need to hide the coffee. So to do that, we can come here. We should be pause coffee, move coffee down. So here I believe is where we should set the value. So instead of -15, we will set it back to 10. So we can save, and then save our cup, and then we can reload and see what we get. So the animation is working somehow correctly, but as you can see, the coffee is being translated way too much. So we can set this value to 0. That's working quite nice. That's working well. So what we can do is, let's try to apply the animation on the order, on the coffee on the right side. So let's just uncomment this guy, change it into an animated view, and then it will take animate coffee right, which should be this guy, animate coffee right, animate coffee right. So we pass this guy the animate coffee right, which should be here, animate coffee right. So with this one, let's just copy this animation and then we name it to animate coffee right. So you can come down here also, we copy this value and we change it also to coffee right translate y, and then we change this value here to coffee right animate y. So for this one, we will start hiding this coffee. That's the time we want to start showing this coffee. So for this one, it should be, we will call this guy hide coffee, and then we will call this guy show coffee right. Should be the value, and then the value for this guy, we will set it to be 0 like we did the other one, but we will need to hide this coffee as well. So I guess the right thing to do would be to wrap this guy inside a with timing with sequence. So at first we will show the value to be 0, and then we create another with timing, and then we will set this value to be 10, all with a duration of 200. Yep. So I think we can even reduce the duration for these two guys. Even the other one we need to update later, but for now we can just set the duration for this one here to be 150 by 150, so we can save our animation. So with this guy, I think I know like what might be happening. So perhaps we need to move this rotate y inside the animation, so we can save this guy. So here is where we'll have our rotation. We save. I see it's working somehow. Actually this duration for this guy happens to be too small for, so we can set it back to 200 and see what we get. So what we can do here is we can even reload. 10 doesn't seem to be doing the job for this guy, so we might need to change this value here to -5 and see how that one goes. Okay, I think that's working quite well for now. So what we will need to do is as we can tell, the coffee is behaving quite weird, because the behavior of the coffee is not very realistic. We need to adjust the way the coffee behaves when the cup is rotating. First enhancement we can do here is to make the coffee follow the rotation of the cup. So what I mean by that is, when this cup here has been tilted, the coffee also should be tilted somehow. So to do that, we can just take this value here, and then we will name it coffee left height. We can call this translate x leave, and then 50. So when the coffee reaches up, as it's tilting on the right, we need to make this coffee follow the cup as well. So that should be here. So we can call this tilt coffee. Then the value for this, we will set it to be with timing. So we change it from 50 to 20 at a duration of let's set it to be 100. So when the coffee is being hidden here, we can also tilt the coffee, and then the value we will set it to be with timing 30, and we can save and see how this one looks. So we need to pass this value here also to our cup. So coffee left translate x would be equal to coffee left translate x. So we can copy to our copy and then change this to coffee left translate x, and then coffee left translate x. So we need to pass this value to our coffee. So we'll call this animate, and then the animate here we can come to our coffee, and then it takes animate, and then this also would be animate. So this 50 will be our animate dot value. So we can come down and then pass this value here to our coffee on the right as well, but then this one would be coffee right translate x, and then this would be coffee right translate x. So it's expecting the coffee right. So we can copy this and then set it to be coffee right translate x, and then coffee left translate x. So when the scope also is tilting on the right, we should set the value for this to be 20, and then we'll see how it behaves. So that should be here, I guess. So we can add it here and then see how it looks, and then tilt coffee. The value for this also we'll set it to be with timing, and we tilt it to -20, and when the cup is going back to 0, we will set the tilt here to be 30. So we can save and see how our animation plays. So we can reload. So the coffee on the left is not working quite well, so what we might need to do here is to adjust the values a bit. So the coffee on the left is not working quite well. I think we need to change this one from -20 to 20. Oh, that's working quite nice. We might need to do a little bit of tweaking here. So we can set the duration for this to be 200, and then for this also we can set the duration for this also to be 200, or maybe we can set this one to 150. We save. Okay, that's working quite nice. But I think this guy is moving up too much, so this might be very insignificant, but I think we can set this one to 1. We can come down. Let's just set this value here to be 3. We can set it to be 4. Even though these are very small changes, but I hope that they would do, but they would do some changes as well. So we can change this one to be 150, and I think if we can adjust the coffee on the right also to hide the one on the left quite earlier than it is right now, I think that also would be better. Here we can just change this duration to be 150. Actually, I would like to set this one to 100, and let me see. Well, I think 100 is too sudden. I can just leave it 150. I think that will work quite well. So from here, what we need to do is when the cup reaches at the bottom, we need to create some splash. So that's the next thing we will do. So the next thing we are going to add is the coffee spill. So basically, when this cup is relaxing on the bottom sheet, we will create some sort of coffee spill. So to do that, we will create another component here which we will call coffee spill, and inside our coffee spill, so we can rename this to svg create component, and this takes a path, animated path. It also takes an animated prop, and then we will give it animated prop. So inside our animated prop, it's a callback, and inside the callback here we can return D. So we will set the cursor here to be 0 0, and then the bezier point here we'll set it to be 20 and 60. The next bezier point we will set it to be 20 and 60. The second bezier we will place it at 30 and 60, and then we will append another bezier. The first point will be 40 and 60 on the y-axis, and then we will place the actual bezier point at 60 and 60. So we can come down to our SVG, and then the width for this we can set it to be 60, and then the height also we can set it to be 60. The stroke color we can set it to be black. We will set the stroke here to be none, and then the fill we will set it to be chocolate color. Let's save this, import it here, and see how it looks. So we can place it just somewhere around here and see how this guy looks. So this is not looking very good, so yes, we can change 0 to 60 and refresh. So this is working fine. To see what's really happening, we can change this to black. So that's our small line here, and then if we change this to 30, then we will see some sort of coffee spill for now. So we are on the right track. So what we need to do is to place this at the center of this cup. So basically when this cup settles at the bottom, then this two will animate. So to do that, we need to move this coffee spill inside our cup. So we can get rid of this, import from here, go inside our cup, and then we place our coffee spill at the bottom, and then import coffee spill from coffee spill, hit save. So what we need to do is to wrap our coffee spill inside a view, and the view here would be absolute. So we can call this styles dot coffee spill container. Now we can go to our style and then declare our coffee spill style. So the position for this, we will set it to be absolute, and then we place it at the top at 0. Let's see what we get. We can save our coffee spill as well. So we can come down to our style again. It's not really taking effect. Like to confirm. So this is not working quite well. I guess what we need to do is to set the top to be cup height. Save. That's not working quite well. Probably minus cup height. It's not working quite well. So 0 is not working quite well. So I guess what we need to do is to improvise a bit. So we can try minus 50, just to see a value that would work well for us. So we can set it to 70. 70 is too much, so I guess 60 will do. Yep, 60 is working fine. So on the left, we can place it to be place it to be cup width divided by 2, cup width divided by 2 minus 60 divided by 2. Yep, that's it. So we have it at the center of the cup. So what we need to do also is to send this coffee at the back. So we can change the z index to be minus 16, or maybe even 25. That's okay. So the next thing we will need to do is to animate the coffee spill. So to do that, we can come down to our coffee spill here, So our coffee spill will be expecting an animate value. So the value for this guy would be, the type for this guy would be record string and any. So we can access our animate here, and then these two guys here would be animate dot value. So now we can come to our copy and expecting an animate. So the value for this we will call a coffee spill animate coffee spill animate coffee spill. So we can access our animate coffee spill from here, and we need to pass our animate coffee spill to coffee spill. So we need to come down to our cup again and pass coffee spill from coffee spill. So we need to declare the styles for our coffee spill as well. So we can go something like coffee spill equal use animated style, and inside here is where we will declare our styles. So the first thing we will need to do here is, actually I just realized the value of this should not be an animated style, but instead it should be an animated value. So we should call the coffee spill height. So we need to declare our coffee spill height here. So you can do something like this: cons coffee spill height equals to use shared value. The initial value here we'll set it to be 60. So now when this cup bounces at the bottom, as it goes up here, that's the time we want to show this coffee spill. So basically that should be somewhere around, so basically it should be here. So to do this we will need to pass it and a callback. So before it triggers this animation here, we should set the value of our coffee spill, the height of our coffee spill to be, we will use width spring for this, and we will set it to be 30 width spring, and then we can set this to be 30. So after this cup comes down, the value here should be set to 60 again. So basically this should take another callback that should fire before the next animation fires. So we set this value to 60. Coffee spill show. So we can save all of these guys, reload and see what we get. Yep, the animation is working quite nice. So what I would like to do is the bottom part of our coffee spill is showing just a bit, so I will need to move it down just a bit. So we can come down to our style. So our coffee spill is this. At the top we will set 59. Yes, that will do. Yep, that's working quite nice. I would like to increase the height of this coffee spill also just a bit. So to do that we can come to our index. Instead of this being 30, I will set it to 40 just to see how it looks. I will reload the animation. I think 40 is actually reducing the height, so I will set it to 20. So reload. That's working quite nice. So from here, the next thing we are going to do is to create a coffee drop that will spill our entire screen. So to do that, what we can do is we can come inside our cup here. So just right up here we can create another animated view here. So the style for this guy here, we will call it animate coffee drop one container. So we can come here and then access our coffee drop one container. This guy here also will be coffee drop one container. It will be a record, and then we have a typo here which should be coffee drop one container. So you can come here and then declare the style for our coffee drop one animate coffee drop one container. So this would be called coffee drop one container style. So it will take an animated style. Inside this animated style we declare our styles. So for this, give it a width of 3 for now, just so that we can have a better view of what we are doing, but later this will be set to 1. So the height also we can set it to be 3. So the position for this should be absolute, and then the background color for this, it should not have any background color though, but what we can do for now, just so that we can have, so we can see what we are doing, we can just set the background color of the red. So we pass this coffee drop one style to this guy, we save our file. So as we can see, there's a small dot here, but instead what we want is to place it at the center of the cup. So what we can do is from the left we can set it to be cup width divided by 2. So from the top, just so that we can see what we are doing. So from the top we will set it to be 50. We aren't seeing anything, so we can set it to be 150. Actually we place it at minus 150. Yep, so that's placed at the center of the cup. So in reality what we want is to place this just somewhere around here, so that it can be hidden inside the cup just a bit. So for that, what we can do is to set this to be we can set it to be 30. I think that will do. I'm not sure if I change the z index of this guy what will happen. We can set it to be 400, send it in the front. Yep, that is too much, so we can set it to be 20 or even 10. Yep, I think that will do. So we can set these values to be 1. The reason for that is because later if we animate this, I want our container to stay at the center of the screen. So I'm using this trick to make so if we animate this coffee drop, everything will be at the center of the screen. So I will save this, and I will come inside our cup. So inside here I will create another view, animated view, create another animated view. So this animated view will be our actual coffee drop. So just to search in this, animate coffee drop 1. So we need to access this guy from here, and then we declare the type and any. So we can come here and then pass our coffee spill animate, and then this will call it coffee drop animate. So I'll just copy this, paste it at the top, and I will call it coffee drop 1 animate style. So we'll pass this to this, and then get rid of this, get rid of the positioning, and the background for this we will set it to be chocolate color, and the width for this would be a shared value. So we will call this to be coffee spill size dot value. So we need to declare our coffee spill size. We will use a shared value, and then at first the width for this would be 0. So we need to animate this size when this coffee spills off. So we are handling that one. So we are handling that here. So what we will do is to delay the animation just a bit. So the value here would be with delay, and we will delay the animation for 100 milliseconds, and it will take an animation for its as its second argument. So we will use width timing for this one. So inside the width timing here, the coffee spill value here, we should set it to the 1000. So we can come to our animation, and then what we need to do is to create like a border radius, which would be 1000 divided by 2. So after the animation is done, we should reset this value back to 0. So the value will set it back to 0. So what we can do is let's save these values, and then reload our animation and see what we get. So as you can see, the animation is working somehow, but it's not working fully as we want it to work. So to do that, the first thing we can do here, let's center our coffee drop inside this container. We'll use a flex direction and set it to row, and then the justify content would be center, and then the align items also here, we'll set it to be at the center. So we can save. So our coffee drop is appearing right at the center, but it seems like when this 1000 here is too small, so we can set this to be 2000. It would hurt, so we can leave it at 2000. But as we can see, what we want the coffee drop to move at the top here, then that's the time it should animate. So to do that, it means the container is what needs to be animated as well. So we can come here and then create another value which we will call coffee drop container translate y. So at first its value should be set to 10, just to confirm. So we will replace this top here with coffee drop container translate worded value. So what we can do here is to animate this value as well. So when this cup drops here, before we set the width delay for our coffee drop, we should set the value for our coffee drop container, which should be here. So the coffee drop container value, we will set it to be, we'll use a width timing 100. So we can save this guy and see how this guy looks. So 100 is not really working. I guess we need to change this to -150 and then save. But instead we should come to our style, the background color for this remove, and then the z index we should send it back. Instead -50 will work, I believe. So we can save this and then see what we get. So it's working somehow like the way we want it to work, but we can still do better. So what we can do here is let's come back to where we are setting this value. So we need to change the size of our coffee drop, because initially we are not seeing the size of the coffee drop. So the initial size, before setting it to 200, we should make it 10 at least. So when we are resetting back the animation, we should set it back to 0. We should set it back to 10 as well instead of 0. So the same goes for this. We should reset it also back to 10, which should be somewhere around here, and the value here we will set it back to 10. So we can save our animation, reload, and see what we get. So that's working quite nice. So I guess the next thing we need to do is to bring this coffee in front of this cup, because currently it's sent at the back of this cup. So basically when this cup goes here, we should bring the coffee drop in front, and we should handle that inside our coffee drop container. So the z index should be shared value also. So basically it should be z index, currently it's set to -50. So it will like coffee container z index dot value, and then initially the value would be -50, but then when we animate it, so the value we should set it to something positive. So that should be here. So the value for this, we will make it let's make it 400 or even 500. I'm going a bit extreme here, but just trying to make sure everything works fine. So the value for this, we will set it back to -50 when we reset the value. So that's working quite nice as well. But the other thing you will notice here is that this bottom sheet is still covering our coffee drop. So to fix that, we can come to our bottom sheet and change the z index for this, set it to 200. This should fix the issue. Yep, that's working fine. Actually, I feel like we can still need to move this coffee drop somewhere around here. So we need to adjust the styles or the shared value a bit. So if you come to coffee spill show coffee drop container translate y, we can set this to -200. Yep, that's better. So that's working quite nice, but we can do better. What I would like to do is move these other animations inside a callback. So we just grab these guys here and then move them inside this callback. So basically when this animation is done executing, it will execute these guys here. I will get rid of this with delay, and this value here, we will set it to -400, and we come down to our style. We change this from top to bottom, and then yeah, I think that will do. So we can come down to our where we are resetting the value. We set this here to -10. We come here also, we change this guy also to -10. The other thing we would like to do is we would like to pause this for a bit, so that the animation will be visible to us for a while. So to do that, I will increase this duration to, let's say, 1 second, and we can save our animation and see how it looks. It's not working quite well, so I can reload just to confirm. So that animation is not working quite well because it's going down. So instead, what I will like to do is change these values from negative to positive, from -400 to 400. So this also from -10, we set it to be 10. Yep, that's working quite nice. But the coffee spill also is happening pretty fast, so I would like to adjust those values also as well. So the duration for this, I will set it to 700 milliseconds and see how it looks. So that's working quite nice, but the value here, where we are increasing the size of our coffee spill, think this guy also here, we can increase the duration to 500 milliseconds. So that's working quite nice. So the other thing I would like to do is to create the second coffee spill that should show inside this. So we can come inside our coffee, and then the animate value for this one would be coffee animate coffee drop one. So we can just copy this and then duplicate it, and we will call this coffee drop 2 container and animate coffee drop 2. So we can just copy this and replace it with 2, and this also animate coffee drop 1, we replace it with coffee drop 2. So 2 animate coffee drop 2, and then we have animate coffee drop container 2. So this also expecting something, so we can come here and then pass the animation for coffee drop 2, so that would be something, and then here also we have animate coffee drop 2 container. So we can just duplicate this and then we will call it coffee drop 2 container, and then we pass this to our coffee drop 2 container, and then we come to our coffee drop 1 style, and then we change it also to coffee drop 2 animate style. We pass it to this. So what we can do from here is, first we need to set the value for our coffee drop 2 z index. So this one will be coffee drop 2 container z index, which would be 50 at first, and then when we come down here we will set the z index to be way above the first one, let's say 800. So we need to reset the value as well, so we can set it to minus, actually I would like to set this to minus 40 at first, and then we can set this to minus 40. So that's the coffee drop container z index. We pass this guy to this guy. So for our coffee drop 2, we need to create another value for this one also as well. So we call this one coffee spill 2 size. Initially it would be 10. So as it animates, we set the value to be coffee spill 2 size, but this time here we wrap it inside with delay, and then we will delay it for, let's say, 200 milliseconds, and from here I think we should be good to go. So the value of this guy here, will set it to 10. So what we can do here is the background color for our coffee drop 2 should be, the background color should be this background color. So we change that background color also to bg color. So now we can save all and see what we get. Actually I would like to reload, and that is not working quite well. The reason is we need to change this value to coffee spill 2, and then the size for our coffee spill 2 here, we will set it to be 0 instead of 10. So you can come down and set it to be 0. So from here we can save, and hopefully everything will work fine. Not really. Yep, it's beginning to work, so I would like to reload. Yep, everything's working fine like we expect. So that's it guys for this video. If you found this to be quite interesting, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you.